gas lines were severed and booby trapped, and there was other booby traps placed and stuff like that. Anyway, the theory here is this, and is that there's this large group of people, okay, and what they do is that they seize people's houses in Pasadena, and the way they seize them is that there's poisoned wells there. They know they're poisoned and everything, and instead of running the well deeply into the ground, which you should, and taking measures like filtering the water and stuff like that, they're not. They're running it up to a shallow surface, and they're picking up all the TCEs and all the perchlorates and all the other goodies that are just like in there from JPL, dumping everything into the arroyo. Now they pump this stuff into the neighborhoods, knowing people are going to get sick. It was openly told to me that my water's poisoned, my water's poisoned, my water's poisoned by the head of the water department when I was arguing with her, and about having my water stuff put on. And then the Sammy told me how to take how the best thing to do was to take a bath, but put in like a bottle of isopropanol alcohol, and that would really work good, good for the muscles and everything, right? But it's poison, and it makes the thing driver. It drives it into you deeper. Now, they had, underneath the house, they had broken the pipe on purpose for the sewer drainage, and they had created an actual a vault for sewage to accumulate under the house and then slowly leach out through the electric power run that runs alongside the driveway and into the yard, which has got a layer of really old sewage on it. And under that there's compact clay that was placed there, and it's got little parts in it and stuff. And that was done to hold in all the chemicals that are buried in the back. And there's barrels and barrels underneath the ground. The house in the back, 2192 Corson Street, Pasadena, California, is sinking into the ground. There is no pad on that house, yet that house was not red tagged. That house was not yellow tagged. They keep that house active. More people are going to be moving in there. They did not rehook up the sewer line. I did. I had a temporary 2-inch hose to run the sewer line into the thing. The sewer line was cut and allowed to, on the P-trap in the middle of the yard, and allowed to escape gases into the yard. Now the reason why that is because it's a biomass. The biomass needs to be kept alive and fed. And that, what that does is that knocks down all the chemicals. Now, I was told by a source that there's drug manufacturing going on in Pasadena over there, illicit drugs. And they're dumping, there's the theory, and it's just a theory, but they're dumping the chem. They don't have any place to put them, so they dump the chems into the backyard. All right? They dump them into the backyard, and then you got the sewage and all that stuff to kind of, quell it down, right, to eat them. And it works over time, but no human being should be there. It's too powerful, and it's just incredibly strong. It's just like powerful. We've had to take extraordinary measures to stay alive. Now, imagine this. You get people supposedly that own it, right? The property. But what if they belong to a bigger group? And the bigger group is a city, and they have people in every single department of the city of Pasadena, California. Every single department, including the clerk's office and including the judges, the magistrate, okay? They use a magistrate, not a judge. And all the way up and down, including the police department and everything. So they have formulated a method of taking people's properties, okay? Taking people's properties, making them sick, and taking them. For instance, Pasadena controls the entire health department. Everything. Nothing is counted. Nothing goes outside. They have jurisdiction on everything. You can't get to the records. Yet people get sick there, and especially the elderly or the weak or whatever. They get sick, they go into a hospital, nursing home, and their property gets seized after a month or two because that's legal. They can legally seize their homes unless their homes are in a trust or something. And then you have head of occupancy, head of inspections. You got code compliance. They all come down and swoop down and say, "Oh, this place is no good," right? We're condemning it, right? These properties are then sold for 10 grand, and I got like lots of evidence of that. And 10 grand a piece is the average. These properties are sold, and then what they do is they sell them and transfer them to a shell group. Okay, Sami Masri, Muhammad Kamura, Hassan Kamura, and Hussein Babaki. They sell them to these shell groups, and what they do is they take the thing and they put it in a trust or they have it in their name. And but the real owners are the actual city people, and it's all in a group. Everyone throws into it, and they so basically what they're doing is you take a well, and you know that the water's poisoned, and you have a deep, it should be a deep well, but what they do is they rise the feed up to the top where all the poison is, because TCE, perchlorates, stuff like that, it's light. It just floats to the top. And what they do is they suck that water out, pump it into an area, and say, okay, this area is going to be affected by this well, and they just let it run into there. People get sick, they come in, and when people get sick, they stop taking care of their houses. And they come in, and they stop taking care of their legal affairs and stuff like that. And then the city comes in, and they go tap, 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 tap. And then it's like a machine, and they have it all down. And what they do is they just knock people into the dirt. And then things are sent through court, absentee judgments and stuff like that, and default judgments. And then the records are burned. The records are burned. All right? Paperwork is changed. You can find the evidence of that through the interactive permit center. And you can see how the paperwork was changed. Things are done. You even have, inspectors and stuff like that who own these houses who inspect their own houses. Okay? We got Tony Escamilla, who has an inspection company, right, that operates in San Gabriel Valley, and he's an inspector full time, right, with Pasadena. That's a total conflict of interest. You got Ophelia Cavazos, the health department. She comes in and she'll shut the place down. They pulled the meter twice at that property that I know of. Once for me and once for another guy that died. And people came out of there in ambulances after 2-3 months of living there. A month and a half sometimes. I found that out. We were there for a long time, and we took extraordinary measures. We have special mineral baths and other homeopathic things that we use and stuff like that, and also radiation. Now, this goes up so high that I had a federal EPA officer go there. He found radiation in the yard, but he farbed the meter. The meter went off, and there was two of them there, and there was another specialist, and the meter went off, and he messed with the dials in front of me. I'm not stupid. He sent me a letter and told me that he used 3 different types of machines. Well, he didn't use a flame analyzer. He brought one, but he didn't turn it on. That's because the methane gas and stuff, it would have shown up. And there's gas on the east side of the house that comes out of where the gas meter is, and there's we call it a water spout. It's in the front. Water never stops there. The water's been shut off, but it still leaks and what have you, and you can see that it goes straight into the water table. Now we got barrels and barrels of stuff underneath that ground, and they're coming out, and everybody who goes in the backyard gets high, dizzy, sick, like immediately. And what happened was I did a remediation on the sewage, and I had to fold it into the backyard. The city didn't come, the owners didn't come. I was forced to clean up 1,500 gallons plus of sewage, 2,000, whatever, a lot. And I've got the professional equipment. I've been in the remediation business and cleaning business for 20 years. Actually, more than that. And I was banned from touching any of my stuff for 3 months. So it would go and rot in the backyard and get ruined, which it did. We lost over $100,000, $150,000 in cash. We lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in goods and supplies. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this was all okay by the city. All okay. And the reason it was all okay is because they own the house. And you will see through the words in the paperwork and the stuff they wrote me that these guys are all working in concert, all working in harmony, all together. It's a collusive group of criminals that are murderous criminals. Anyway, that's all for now.
The problems that are likely to have occurred, or almost certainly to have occurred at Desert Area Army Reserve Center, first of all, there's an underground storage tank, which has never been investigated, yet it's on the maps on the city site. Other buildings on the site were a painting shop and an automobile maintenance facility and an automobile wash rack. In my experience on military facilities, every underground storage tank has leaked or had material spilled around it. Every paint shop has had hazardous materials released, principally trichloroethylene, which is a carcinogen, and paint thinners such as toluene and ethylbenzene. The fuel in the fuel tank would have been leaded gasoline, so there's probably tetraethyl lead in the soil and groundwater. And these things have not been addressed. Why is this a problem to the city? The Army is obliged to clean these things up through all of eternity. The problem that the city would face is if the city took this for a public use without cleaning up and someone became ill or got cancer, God forbid, they could sue, but they cannot sue the Department of Defense, but they can sue the city of Pasadena for negligence. The solution to this problem is quite simple. The hazardous materials group within the fire department needs merely to write a letter to either the Regional Water Quality Control Board or the Department of Toxic Substances Control